is a good friend of mine, works at our station, iHeartMedia, Bill George.
From college radio to a professional career in Providence, Bill George is a proud Rhode Islander who grew up listening to all the songs he plays every day on B101. He's worked in the Boston and New York radio markets, and we believe he's the only Rhode Island Radio Hall of Famer who has programmed radio stations in Hawaii. We're glad he returned home to iHeartRadio, where we can hear him weekday afternoons on B101.
London Calling, that's The Clash right here on X58 WXIM. My name's Guillermo Jorge. It's Mexican radio at its finest.
Something from Maynard Ferguson on 88.1 FM, WXIN. 9:36, 36 degrees on the Rhode Island College campus.
Southern New England's Light 105 had a no-repeat workday with America and Daisy Jane. Celine Dion did Where Does My Heart Beat Now? And it's 3:49. And Bill George here for Charlie Jeffords. The New Wish 99.5, where we only stop the music twice an hour. That means fewer interruptions and a lot more music. Boston's unique way to relax. Smooth Jazz 99.5, the new Oasis.
The new Star 101.9.
Retro Cafe. Retro Cafe.
Hey, it's Star 101.9. It's Bill George. I got to share a retro memory with you. It was the spring of 1985. I was on my way to see the Cars Heartbeat City Tour. And we looked closely at the ticket, and it said special guest Wang Chung. We all said, who the hell is that? It wasn't long till they made it big with this one. It's Everybody Have Fun Tonight on the Star Retro Cafe. I'm Bill George with the stories Rhode Islanders will be talking about. A clear night in the 30s ahead. Mostly sunny tomorrow. Will be in the low 50s again. A complete check of your 920 WHJJ forecast is coming up. B101, where we want to help you put $50K in your pocket.
No, you're kidding.
I'm serious.
Shut up. Oh my
really?
God.
You start out by winning
so crazy.
$1,000.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Is this like really real? Oh my God.
Your next chance to win $1,000 to get in on $50K happens at 5 o'clock.
Rhode Island Radio Hall of Fame class of 2016, Bill George.
Like Bruce, I was misinformed about the speech length. I wish I had known that before I got together with my speechwriter, Saucy Sylvia, who told me, kid, you got 45 minutes. I don't know what I'm going to do with that now. You know, you don't get here without the support of a lot of people, especially your family. This business, as Bruce mentioned, entails a lot of uncertainty, a lot of demands on your time, and you can't get through it without a great partner. So tonight I would like to thank my partner of the last 23 years, Jennifer, for all the times I walked out on family dinners and holidays and slept at the radio station. Thanks very much. I also want to thank all my friends and family who are here tonight, including my mom Lillian, my aunt Jackie, and my in-laws Bob and Candy. My dad passed away 13 years ago. Some of you knew him when he worked at the Wampanoag Trail building. He was a huge radio fan. He would have loved this, especially getting to meet Tommy Heinsohn and Mike Gorman. That would have been a thrill for him. That would have been a bigger thrill for him than me being up here, actually. I also thank God for just giving me the ability to do as much as I've done with what little talent I have. You know, all my earliest memories include listening to Rhode Island radio, Red Sox games, No School Foster Gloucester, JB 105's Chicken Man, WGNG's Golden Oldies, the thundering voice of Bud Taves doing news. And radio was always on in our kitchen. And in the 67 Le Mans, you wouldn't like that car, Bruce. And radio taught us what records we were supposed to buy at Ann and Hope, right? You have to go get the 45s. When I was 14, I met Joe Cortez. He was working weekends at WPRO and Pro FM. And he would stay with the Began family, friends of his. And so Joe would drive up in his 69 Camaro. And because we knew the Began family, he would come over to my house and warm up before softball games to play catch. And everybody in my neighborhood thought that was unbelievable. Here was this radio guy who would come over and play catch with me, and, you know, a big star in the neighborhood. And come to find out, he was there to hit on my sister. I'm sure that doesn't surprise anybody who knows Joe, but that was one of the things that really made me think that radio was really pretty cool. As most of you know, I became a program director pretty early. I programmed light when I was 23 because what kid doesn't want to impress his friends by playing Barry Manilow records? And when I was 25, I became the operations manager of the first radio group on the Wampanoag Trail. I went to Boston when I was 27, so I never really got a chance to work for programmers who taught me the ropes. You know, the only time I even got hotlined in my life was in college, and the PD called from the dorm. He was a very nurturing guy named John DePietro. You may have heard of him. There were consultants who taught me along the way and were nice enough to mentor me, including Holland Cook, who's being inducted tonight, and Mike McVeigh. But it really has been the people that I worked with who helped make me the professional that I am. The GMs that helped me early in my career, Ira Rosenblatt, Carol Carson, Jim Corwin and Steve Peck, who hired me at WHJJ. My bosses that I work with now, who are the best ever, Rhonda Lapham and Rob Anthony, guys. You've done so much. Thank you very much. But most of all, it's been the people who technically worked for me who taught me the most. You know, in reality, it's been my privilege to have served them as they entertain. I've been lucky enough to have had 17 Rhode Island Radio Hall of Famers work on the stations that I've programmed or that I oversaw. And that includes some of the fill-in people like Deb Rich, who's being inducted tonight, Steve Cass, Paul Perry, Mark Caddick. It's amazing when I think back 25 years ago, I don't think I appreciated being able to work with legends. You know, as a PD, the most important thing you can do is to recognize talent, know when you're supposed to impart your vision and when it's time to just get out of the way. And I've lived that lesson every day with legends like Gary DeGrade. Gary called me today from Kentucky, and every time we talk, he has to remind me about the time that I made him cook 3,000 hot dogs at Colt State Park with plastic forks. Also got a chance to work with Charlie Jeffords, the late great Norm Jagalinzer. On a night like this, I remember one time we were at an event, and I said to Norm, I said, well, this is pretty late. You get in early, Norm. And I said, you must take a nap, huh? And Norm, in his Norm voice, said, I never nap. And right up to today, I'm lucky enough to be able to work with people, talents like Ron St. Pierre, Steve Mack, TC and Kristen, who are all here. You know, Kevin Bacon has the 6 degrees of separation thing. Sometimes I think of myself as the Kevin Bacon of Rhode Island radio, not because of the people I work with, but because of my dance moves. But I always think that I'm so lucky that over the last 30 years, there's probably nobody in this room who's probably more than 1 or 2 degrees of separation from me. One of the most colorful account executives in the history of radio, Earl Baker. Many of you know Earl. When I became operations manager at Light 105, Earl wrote me a note that said, congratulations, the definition of luck, ... the place where ability meets opportunity. When you sign on in this business, you never know where it's going to take you. I was a production intern, an overnight board op. A year later, a certain PD got fired, and I was hired as a first-time program director at Light 105, making $8.65 an hour. And now I'm at what's minimum wage? $9.60, so I'm moving up. A lot of valleys that go along with those peaks, of course. I've programmed stations to #1 books. I've been fired for having not so #1 books. I was the last person to fire Delilah. To show you how smart I was, I fired her at Wish, and a year later she was on 200 radio stations. So you never know what's next. Tonight I feel like I'm walking through a dream, kind of a movie of all of our careers. It's a moment that I never imagined. It's a terrific honor, and I truly appreciate it, and I thank you all.